Hi, Tri-State. Welcome to Facebook Live Thursday. We're no longer doing it on Fridays. Thank you for joining us. I'm really excited to have Cheryl Adams with us with Human Resources. So we're going to give you guys a couple of seconds to get on here and get ready. I hope you're enjoying your week. We're having really great weather out here. I know in the southeast that the hurricanes are getting kind of crazy. So we hope that you have safe travels, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it on over to Cheryl.
Do I need to wait for a little bit to let people get on or just start?
They're rolling in, so you're
Okay.
good.
Okay, so like Riley said, Cheryl Adams, Director of Human Resources. When I got asked to go this week, I really don't have anything new that I'm going to talk about, so I just thought that I would go over some of the things that maybe you guys are dealing with the health plan, and a couple of benefits that you may forget about. I just want to remind you of some things with that. So one of the things that I want everyone to realize is you have a My Dasky benefits portal, and that is specific to each person. You can log on. If you, in the upper right hand corner, when you first go in, you can click on login instructions, and it will give you the exact format of what you need to use to log into that website. You can change your password once you're in there, and then that will be a password that is unique to you, so you can log into that portal. That portal has every plan that you're on. It tells you whether you have coverage or not. If it's in effect, you can look at that link on those plans. You can click on plan information. It'll actually tell you like the little benefit summary of what that plan is. So on the health insurance, if you have the gold plan, it's going to tell you what your copays are, your deductibles, your out-of-pocket maximums, all that kind of stuff. It's going to tell you who your beneficiaries are. You can always look at those. You can actually change your beneficiaries on there if you need to. There's a new link on there that just started that is life events, and that's if you have a qualifying life event, you can make changes to your coverages within the plan year. If you have something like that happen, that's going to be marriage, divorce, birth of a dependent, loss of a dependent, maybe your spouse loses their coverage and needs to come onto our plan. You can actually do that online now. You would still need to notify HR so we can open your window per se to let you enroll. That has to be done within 30 days of that life event. All of that is on there. There's a library tab on the My Dasky portal. That library tab, instead of actually having the just summary plan description, it's the true actual document for that plan. So it has the full certificate of coverage that goes into specific details of what the plan covers, and very detailed. I know everybody just loves that. You know, it's your bedtime reading. I know everyone's going to go in there and read every plan that's out there. I'm the freak that does that, so that way I kind of know what the plans do. All of that stuff is on there, and I think a lot of people probably assume that My Dasky portal is only for enrollment time, and that's for you to utilize all the time for anything. It's got a lot of information on there that's helpful. The second thing I want to talk about is our Health Pro. Because our plan is so different than the typical plans that everybody is used to, you know, when you have the BUCA plans, the Blue Cross Blue Shield, United, Cigna, most of the time people do that. You just give a provider your card, and then you don't have to worry about anything. With us being a true Dasky benefits plan, that is our insurance is Dasky. We are self-funded. And us having the platform that we have is definitely different and new to the market. So I know there's times when people go to give them their card and they assume our provider is Lucent Health, which it's not. That is our TPA that is just a claims administrator. And that causes some questions a lot of times when people have those. So I kind of wanted to go into a little detail on what the plan is and how it works. So when you go to a provider, if it's a provider that's on our network, which is either HealthSmart or it's the PCHS, those providers are already on a contract just like they would be on the Blue Cross Blue Shields and Cignas. Those providers, you're literally going to give them your card and you're not going to have any any situation with that whatsoever. The places that you're going to have issues with are the non-preferred providers. And the difference with our plan is if you go somewhere that is non-preferred provider, you're not going to be penalized like you are on the Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, stuff like that. The plan is going to process those exactly the same as whether you're actual in-network or out-of-network. There's no penalty for that. The difference is it's a little bit different for you all in the fact that that provider isn't contracted with, so you might get some kickback of, we don't take this insurance, we don't understand what it is. So the Health Pro is one of the things that we have utilized on our plan, and they are basically your one-stop shop for any of these issues that you have. If you're going to a provider that you haven't been to and you don't know whether they're on network or not, my suggestion is always going to be to call the Health Pro. It's the 800-897-8547. This flyer, I think we loaded onto your media on your Qualcomms, but we can do that again. That Health Pro is your one-stop shop. They're going to be able to tell you whether a provider is already on network or not. If they're not on network, if you give them at least 3 days notice, and when your appointment is, they can actually reach out to that provider and pre-negotiate a contract with them and pay for the services that the plan would be responsible for up front. That's going to save you a lot of time and frustration if you're doing that. I suggest that you do that on anything so you know that that's going to be covered and you're not going to get any kickback. They literally will reach out to that provider for you. The Health Pros also can go into things like they can review any bills that you've received. If you get a bill from a provider and it doesn't match your EOB, your explanation of benefits, you can provide those to the Health Pro. They look into that for you, and if the doctor is balance billing you for something that's not your responsibility, then they will work with that provider to get that taken care of. On your facilities, like if you have big hospital bills and stuff like that, a lot of times those will go through the PAC Center, which is the Patient Advocacy Center. They actually will negotiate contracts with those so you don't get balance billed and stuff like that. So any issues that you're having with getting bills from providers that don't match your EOBs, if you're just not sure who a provider is, if you're looking to have something done and you don't know what providers would be good, say if you go to your PCP, your primary care physician, and you're having knee issues and they're wanting you to go to an orthopedic doctor to have something done, you can reach out to the Health Pro and they will provide you with 3 options. And basically they look at a lot of different criteria. It's not just are they in your area, it's who has the lowest infection rate at that hospital, who does less invasive procedures, and not someone that just automatically does surgeries. Like, what's the most cost savings but best care that you can receive? So they give you 3 options, and they look into all those details for you. So it's really no different than when you're going and you're getting a car, you're buying furniture. A health plan is meant to be consumer driven. You need to look into and research physicians. This kind of does that for you. So I recommend, if you're having anything like that done, to reach out to those Health Pros. They're there to help you. They're very nice. Once you've kind of dealt with one, that is your assigned Health Pro. That's who you're going to deal with every time. So you can kind of form a relationship with that person. The HR department, Ruth and Brandon and Kelly, myself, we're always here to help. But because of HIPAA regulations, there's just very little we can do on our end looking into claims for you. That's why we have the Health Pro for that. Also looking at providers, I know used to on the My Benefits, the My Dasky Benefits portal, there was a link to where it said locate providers. That has been taken down. It literally drives you to call that Health Pro because that's what we want you to do. For the people like me who don't really want to talk to a Health Pro, you just kind of want to look and see the providers that are in your area and then ask around if anybody goes to them or anything like that. You can still log on to My Lucent Health on the health plan, and that website gives you all of your claims, all of your EOBs, and it does have links where you can look at providers online without having to call somebody. It's updated, daily and that kind of stuff. We always want to drive you to do the Health Pro, but I'll admit I'm one of those people. I don't necessarily want to talk to somebody. I just want a list of providers and then talk to some of my friends and stuff and see if there's anybody that they go to that they like. So that option is still available. You can look at those, and it'll have you put in your zip code, and it'll pull the providers that are on those plans. Do we have any questions before?
We do, and it's probably one you were expecting. We have some owner-operators wondering if we have anything updated for them, or if you have any advice for them.
I knew that would come. So once again, legally, we can't have you participate on the plan because you are an independent contractor. You're not an employee of the company. We have kind of barely tiptoed around looking at a couple of things that are out there that might be available. We haven't looked into it a lot. I know a lot of the owner-operators that I've talked to and dealt with in the past, OIDA is a big one that you can contact. UTBA, which is Universal Trucking Benefits Association, they have stuff that's for independent contractors. I always tell people you can call your actual independent insurance agent. A lot of times they have plans that they have that they are insured to write through their own company. But through the company, we don't offer anything at this time. I'm not saying that we won't look into maybe looking at a provider that might be able to offer it, and we would do the convenience of payroll deduction. But at this time, we don't have that available.
And that's it for right now.
Okay. I knew I would get that one. So.
Yeah.
Another thing is a lot of people have our ancillary coverages. You might have which is through Voya. We have the short-term disability, life insurance. We also have the critical care and the accident policies. If you currently have those, a lot of times people forget they actually have a wellness benefit that is in those policies. So you have those for the what ifs, but the wellness benefit is actually the plan if you go and have some type of wellness screening, whether that's a PAP for a woman, a wellness exam, a colonoscopy, maybe you're having blood work done for cholesterol, checking your LDL and HDL. Those things are true wellness screenings. You can submit a claim for those, and those plans will pay you a $50 benefit for having those wellness screenings. They want to encourage you to have those wellness screenings. So I encourage people, if you have the critical care or you have the accident, you can file a claim with Voya to get that $50 benefit. That's also if you have a spouse covered under those plans, and if you have children covered under those plans. So for your spouse, it's also the $50 benefit. And you can have one screening, and if you carry both of those plans, you can submit that same screening to both of them because they're separate policies and get that $50 benefit from both of them. You're paying a huge chunk of your premiums with that reimbursement back for that wellness exam. So that's for you, your spouse if they're on the plan, and any dependent children if they're on the plan. Dependent children pay $25 a piece instead of $50, with a maximum of $100 for all of the children combined. So, if you have 4 kids, it's going to be the $25 a piece. If you have 7 kids, you're only going to get the $100 if you have them do their screenings. So just a reminder to do those. A lot of people forget that that's a built-in benefit. Voya, you can submit the claim. You can go on to voya.com, which is voya.com, or you can call them and tell them you can start a claim telephonically. They'll have you submit the paperwork. It's 800-955-7736. I know you guys are probably watching and don't have pen and paper or whatever, so you can always call us at the HR department. We can give you that information again to file any claims on that. One more thing that I want to touch on is open enrollment. We're actually, DASKY right now is in the open enrollment process. We're looking at what our coverages are going to be next year, whether we're going to stay with the current plans we have. Are we going to do something different? Of course, Dasky is, looking at this as a whole over all the opcos that they own. So we look to have more information on that. I'm assuming that you guys will be getting information from us probably starting mid-October, and we're looking at probably like November 1st for an actual open enrollment date. And that's going to make a difference of whether, if we keep everything the same, it's probably going to be a passive enrollment, meaning that you could keep the current coverages you have and you don't have to do anything, and it's going to roll over. Kind of like what we did this year. We had the May 1st, everybody came on the plan, and then it was a passive enrollment unless you wanted to make changes. However, if we make any plan changes or we decide to do something different, then it would be an active enrollment, meaning everybody would have to actively enroll to be able to have those coverages. So be watching your Qualcomm and probably Facebook Lives. Again, we'll do more of those as we get information coming down to us from Dasky. One other thing, I know we were having some issues. HR was kind of hard to get to because you had to go through a couple of different options. When you called in, they didn't have an option that rang directly to HR. You kind of had to hit admin, and then you had to hit HR. And so I wanted to give everybody the number for HR. It's 877-860-1600, and then we are option 7. That literally will ring to all of our phones at the same time, so it's not just ringing from one and bouncing. It's going to go to the whole group, and anybody within our group can pick up and help you. So if you guys have any questions, Riley's going to let me know.
So far, no more.
None? Okay. Well, that's all I really have to update you guys. I want everyone to be safe out on the road and have a amazing rest of the week.
One did actually just roll in from Jason Matthews.
Okay.
He just joined in kind of late, so you might have said this already, but he says, how long can I carry my kids on the insurance? Is there an age limit?
Okay, so there is an age limit on the insurance. With the ACA, those regulations have changed. On the health, dental, vision, those can be carried through age 26, and the coverage would end on their actual birth date of that month. Okay, but 26 on those plans. It doesn't matter whether they're in school or not either, which it used to. Before ACA, it was a bunch of different regulations. Now it's regardless up to age 26.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right. Okay, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to call HR. Otherwise, have a great week.